In December 2025, China's Foreign Minister Wang Yi traveled to Moscow for high-stakes talks with Russia's top officials. This was more than a routine visit. It was a signal to the world that China and Russia's partnership is deepening amid global crises. The timing was crucial, as the war in Ukraine raged on, and tensions in Asia escalated. With U.S. envoys also in Moscow seeking solutions, the city became a hub for global diplomacy. For Beijing and Moscow, these talks were about showing unity and coordinating strategies on the world stage. Wang Yi met with Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov and Security Council Secretary Sergei Shoigu for serious discussions on security and cooperation. These weren't just symbolic meetings. They were about aligning responses to international pressures and planning joint actions. The message was clear. China and Russia are presenting a united front in a rapidly changing world. By strengthening their alliance, they aim to protect their interests and expand their influence. The Moscow talks were a key step in preparing for future challenges together. Their partnership is now a major force shaping global politics. In Moscow, China and Russia focused on three critical issues: the Ukraine war, rising tensions with Japan, and their own strategic partnership. The Ukraine conflict dominated discussions, with China offering to help mediate peace, and both sides aligning their interests. Japan's recent military assertiveness, especially over Taiwan, was another major concern. Both countries see Japan's actions as destabilizing and agreed to coordinate their response. At the heart of it all was the China-Russia partnership, which both sides see as essential in countering Western pressure. They discussed boosting cooperation in defense, security, and diplomacy. Their shared stance on Ukraine and Japan brings them closer, reinforcing their alliance in both Europe and Asia. By tackling these issues together, they're crafting a unified strategy for global influence. The Moscow meetings were about more than current crises. They were about building a long-term, resilient partnership. Whatever happens in Ukraine or with Japan, China and Russia intend to face it together. Their united approach is reshaping the balance of power worldwide. A key outcome of the Moscow talks was a stronger, shared stance against Japan's growing military ambitions. Both China and Russia view Japan's remilitarization as a threat to regional stability, recalling the legacy of World War II. They agreed to coordinate their responses to what they see as provocative Japanese actions, especially regarding Taiwan and disputed islands. This unified approach sends a clear warning to Tokyo. Any challenge to their interests will be met together. Both nations reaffirmed their commitment to uphold the post-World War II order and resist any attempts to rewrite history. Russia's ties with Japan have soured over sanctions and territorial disputes, while China's concerns center on the East China Sea and Taiwan. These overlapping disputes have merged, making Japan a common adversary. The result is a powerful incentive for China and Russia to stand together against Japan. Their united front is now a defining feature of East Asian geopolitics. Tensions between China and Japan spiked after Japanese Prime Minister Sanae Takaichi suggested Japan might defend Taiwan militarily. Beijing saw this as a direct threat and responded with harsh economic measures, including banning Japanese seafood imports and curbing tourism. Diplomatic ties frayed, and at sea, Chinese and Japanese Coast Guard ships faced off near disputed islands, raising the risk of conflict. For China, any foreign involvement in Taiwan is unacceptable. For Russia, Japan's stance aligns it with the U.S., deepening hostilities. Russia strongly backs China's position on Taiwan, viewing Japan as part of a Western bloc challenging their interests. These shared grievances have tightened the China-Russia partnership. The Taiwan issue is now a central pillar of their alliance, uniting them against perceived Western encroachment in Asia. The crisis has made the region more volatile and underscored the urgency of their Moscow talks. As Japan grows closer to the U.S., China and Russia are more determined to counterbalance its influence. Their coordinated response to the Taiwan issue is a powerful symbol of their strategic unity. The stakes for regional peace have never been higher. In Moscow, leaders from China and Russia used strong language to cement their alliance. Wang Yi called for steadfast mutual support and stronger strategic cooperation, signaling a push for deeper ties. Russian Foreign Minister Lavrov reaffirmed support for the One China principle, backing Beijing on Taiwan and opposing foreign interference. Security Secretary Shoigu extended support to China on sensitive issues like Tibet, Xinjiang and Hong Kong, rejecting Western criticism. On Ukraine, Shoigu declared Russia's determination to achieve its goals, blaming NATO expansion for the conflict. Wang Yi reiterated China's constructive role in seeking peace, balancing support for Russia with its image as a mediator. These statements show a partnership that goes beyond words. Each side is committed to backing the other on core interests. The public unity on Taiwan, Ukraine, and internal affairs sends a clear message to the world. China and Russia are not just allies of convenience, they are building a durable strategic alliance. Their words in Moscow reflect a new level of coordination and resolve. The Ukraine war was a central sensitive topic in Moscow. China presented itself as a neutral mediator, promising to keep talking with all sides to encourage peace. Russia, meanwhile, blamed the West and NATO for the conflict, insisting it would see the war through to its goals. China's position is a careful balancing act, supporting Russia as a partner, but avoiding direct military aid and maintaining ties with Europe. Beijing talks about respecting sovereignty while acknowledging Russia's security concerns. The talks weren't about an immediate peace deal, but about aligning long-term strategies. China and Russia want to ensure their partnership isn't damaged by the ongoing war. As the conflict drags on, their close coordination shapes the diplomatic landscape. Their approach to Ukraine is a test of their alliance's strength and flexibility. While China and Russia met in Moscow, the US and Europe were also pursuing their own diplomatic efforts on Ukraine. A US team, including Trump's envoy and Jared Kushner, held marathon talks with President Putin, but no breakthrough was reached. The US visit showed that, despite deep rifts, dialogue channels remain open. European leaders, led by France's Macron, were also active, meeting both Ukraine's Zelensky and China's Xi Jinping to seek solutions. Europe hopes China can use its influence to push Russia toward peace, but results remain elusive. These parallel efforts highlight the complexity of the crisis. The US talks to Russia, Europe talks to Ukraine and China talks to Russia. It's a diplomatic puzzle with many moving pieces and no easy answers. President Xi also spoke with former President Trump, calling for a fair and lasting peace. All sides claim to want peace, but their visions for it are very different. The world's major powers are engaged in a high-stakes contest over Ukraine's future. The outcome will shape global order for years to come. At its core, the Moscow summit was about cementing the China-Russia strategic partnership. Both sides described their relationship as a no-limits friendship, essential for their security and global ambitions. Their support for each other is concrete. On Taiwan, Tibet, Xinjiang, and Hong Kong, they present a united front. Military and security cooperation is deepening, with joint exercises and intelligence sharing. They see the US, NATO, and Japan as trying to contain their rise, so they're building a counterweight. Their shared vision is a multipolar world, not dominated by any single superpower. The Moscow meetings were another step toward this alternative world order. Their alliance is now a central pillar of global geopolitics. As they grow closer, the world's balance of power is shifting. The China-Russia talks in Moscow have global consequences. When two nuclear powers align, their decisions ripple across continents. Their consensus on Japan could heighten tensions in East Asia, especially around Taiwan and the East China Sea. China's support gives Russia economic and diplomatic strength, making a quick end to the Ukraine war less likely. The alliance deepens the divide between Western democracies and the China-Russia bloc. This split complicates cooperation on global challenges like climate change and pandemics. The December 2025 summit showed a united front on security and diplomacy, reshaping international relations. While it stabilizes China and Russia, it creates new risks for the world. Understanding this partnership is key to understanding the future of global politics. The path to peace and stability will depend on how other nations respond to this powerful alliance.